forhims.com/ESPN. That's forhims.com/ESPN. forhims.com/ESPN.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick, Miss Lydia!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Golick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach K. Stevenson here on this Tuesday afternoon. Well, a little gloomy outside, but I want to say something, Coach, first off. We keep those of the Nashville tornado that went through last night. It killed so far 9 people. Devastated. I mean, it went right by Nissan Stadium, just to give you a reference of where it was, so close to downtown. But 9 people losing their life, it's just absolutely terrible.
Well, that's awful. It is awful. And our hearts go out to it. We really do. We're praying for him.
And being a Tennessee Titans fan myself, of course, Nashville's near and dear to my heart. I've always gone there ever since I was little. Love the place. Fantastic people. But it doesn't matter where this is at. This is terrible, and it's unfortunate with everything going on. We keep those that are affected in our prayers as well. But, Coach, coming back to some football news, let's brighten this up a little bit here. Coach, on this Tuesday afternoon, a little gloomy outside, like I said. Well, we got some NFL, some college, a little XFL for you. Of course, the XFL show yesterday, we want to remind people that Monday and Friday is Inside the XFL show. But, Coach, before we get started here, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. Look forward to the show. There's a lot going on.
Absolutely.
Every day there is,
Every day. And I tell you what, Coach, I want to start with the new collective bargaining agreement. Of course, Nate Solder, the Giants' left tackle, said he will vote yes on the new CBA, saying, look, it's a great deal for core players. He said, I understand guys voting no on this. He gets, everybody has their own opinion, and that's the great part about this is you get to voice your opinion. He said, but, listen, minimum salaries would go up significantly with bumped up benefits for current players and retired players. We'd increase the practice squad from 10 to 14 by 2022. Work rules would improve. He said, I don't think it's perfect. We're making incremental gains on player health and safety. And some players have fallen victim to the thought if we turn this down, we'll get something better. He said, we might, but then again, we might not. And these owners could hold us hostage on some of these deals, some of these things that, well, unless we just want to lock out, that's what we're going to have to deal with. And so Nate Solder coming out, and this is a guy I think a lot of people respect, But, Coach, we talked about this. For the majority of the people, like he's saying the core players, this is a fantastic deal for them. I mean, it doesn't check all the boxes depending on what you're looking for, but overall, this is a good deal for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's crazy not to accept it. It really is. And these guys have to realize that what has been provided for them, JP, is something that no one could have imagined just a few years ago. Not even begin to imagine. And they should be thankful for it. They should be appreciative, and in every way do everything that they can to make it a bigger and better situation for the owners and everybody involved in it, and the other players. I did notice where a couple of the high-priced quarterbacks said no to it, but they've made their money. They've got guaranteed money that is probably going to set them up and their families for years to come. But the core that Solder's talking about, they really need to be sure that those people are taken care of. I think this is going to pass because by far the bulk of the players are in that core category.
Yeah, Coach, and like I said, we've talked about this before. It's a great deal for so many people. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens. I think it's going to pass solely because that core, there's more of the core. But you're right, Coach. It's interesting when you hear guys like Aaron Rodgers and people like that making their comments. Well, it's partly because they've made their money, so it's a little bit different to them. Those people that, toward the bottom, especially practice squad players, these guys don't make a lot of money. They're trying to make it. And, Coach, I've heard now, this was off the Feinbaum show, a guy saying that practice squad players don't get paid during the playoffs. No, I haven't fact-checked that yet, but if that's the truth, I mean, that's terrible for some of these guys, that they're not on salary during the playoffs, that their contract lasts throughout the year. But then again, that's more the reason for things like this to go up. When you look at practice squad players, I believe their salary would go up 20%. Well, imagine thinking about your job right now, wherever you work, getting a 20% raise.
Yeah.
We jump for a 5% or 2% raise. These guys get a 20% raise. That's awesome. Of course you would vote for something like that. It's just going to be interesting to see. But, Coach, I think it's going to pass.
I do too, and I hope it will.
Moving on here, some Alabama news. Well, Mike Stoops. He's not Mark Stoops, but Mike Stoops will stay as a defensive analyst at Alabama over joining his brother Mark at Kentucky. That may be where you know the Stoops name. There's many Stoops around. Coach, Mike Stoops staying there. Of course, it was rumored he was going to go join his brother. A small win right now. Of course, Alabama hiring David Ballou yesterday, but Saban trying to keep that core together, along with Pete Golding, which we were wondering if Pete would be gone. They brought in, of course, the coach from used to be University of South Florida. His name is gone from me right now.
Charlie Strong.
Yeah, Charlie Strong. Yes, sir. But when you look at this, Mike Stoops here, when you talk about, Coach, it may not be the big name everybody's looking for, but keeping that core around you, how important is that to – I know a coach like Saban, but just in general, on your coaching staff, to keep these guys around for as long as possible?
Well, it's terribly important. Continuity is the name of the game. And this tells a completely different story here. If you look at what's going on, now Saban has found ways to get additional help on his coaching staff through the use of these people coming in as contributors in some way or another, and he has some money to pay them, and it also is a great experience for him. My guess is with Stoops turning down the job at Kentucky to go with his brother's staff on his brother's staff at Kentucky, that Saban likes him, thinks he's got some good ideas, and he's contributing somewhat to the Alabama football team. Charlie Strong, whatever Charlie Strong's, whatever his forte is, it's evidently something that Saban feels is valuable to them. So that's helping, and he's keeping those people around. Now keep in mind, they're just contributors. They're not full assistants. I'm sure he's got enough money that he's paying them pretty well, but that's an unusual situation. But you can bet that he's satisfied that they're giving some help, and he wants to keep them there.
Coach, my question to you, a lot of times we hear people talk about this, some of the jobs these people have, the names and everything like that. When you look at a defensive analyst for Mike Stoops, we hear all kinds of job names in this, but a defensive analyst, just kind of curious out there, what is a defensive analyst job, and what does it relate to when you talk about the defensive coordinator position?
I couldn't tell you, nor could anybody in this country tell you.
So it's different.
Except for one guy, Saban. He could tell you what that means. It's a name only. It's a placeholder. It's something that he's come up with that he can bring these people in under the heading, I'm sure, of enhancing the program through consulting type fees and whatever, and bring them in and put them on a payroll and involve them with the coaching staff. And to a certain extent, I'm not sure what contact now they can have with players, but they can certainly have all the contact they want with the coaching staff. So whatever arrangement he has, it's working out well for him, and he will continue to do it. And he doesn't have to have people on the coaching staff in full assistant positions.
And see, I think that's interesting just because we see defensive analysts, we see all kinds of names, and I think it's important. I was curious myself because you never hear a pure definition of these job names. And so to hear you say, look, it's different for everybody. It's a placeholder. I think that's perfect. It's a placeholder, and you're kind of like, a utility knife, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. Well, tell me what a West Coast offense is. And tell me what a
grit splits is, Coach.
The grit splits, and there are all kinds of names, and people get a kick out of that. So, more power to them.
Well, I want to stay, Coach, on Alabama. This has been interesting. Of course, we just mentioned it with Pete Golding. Terrell Lewis, the linebacker for Alabama, of course, is at the draft combine. Great, got to meet him out there at Blue Wahoo Stadium and with the Senior Bowl. Awesome guy, but of course he was interviewed at the combine, and they asked him about the defense and the problems they had this year, and he said, listen, I just feel like sometimes, especially the LSU game, they caught us in a situation where there was a lack of communication, and they ended up winning that play and scoring. As a defense, I feel like it was basically too many mental errors as a whole for the defense. Same for Auburn. I feel like we had a lot of plays when it didn't go our way, and they caught us when we were at our worst. Communication from the top down as far as even play calling and as far as on the field, guys relaying calls and relaying the signals, stuff like that, he felt like was the problem this year with the defense. Now, it's one of these things, Coach, I think, where for Terrell Lewis, fantastic kid, fantastic linebacker for him, going to be a great guy in the NFL. He was just giving his honest opinion here, just talking about it. Of course, people turning it whatever way you want. Of course, a lot of people want Pete Golding out, but I think that the over factor here is communication from the top down as far as even play calling. That's where people take a shot at Pete Golding and are crucifying him on this. And to finish this up, the big deal is Feinbaum came on his show and said, listen, I've said for a while now, Pete Golding is the worst defensive coordinator Saban has had at Alabama. Kevin Steele, Kirby Smart, Jeremy Pruitt, he's not even in the same ballpark as these guys. Coach, when you look at this for Pete Golding, look, they had injuries last year that were unlike they've ever had. Is this a fair assessment on Pete Golding right now? Let's find out when the guy has his team healthy.
Well, we're certainly going to find out this year, and for whatever reason, Saban is bringing him back, and for whatever reason, keep in mind what we just talked about, he's surrounding him with these defensive analysts, and also keep in mind Saban is going to run that defense overall, the schematics involved and the planning and so on. Now the down and dirty day-to-day each minute they're out there on the field with the coaching, that has to be handled by the assistant coaches with the players. But for the most part, I see Saban really trying to shore up that defense. All the signs are there. Bring in Charlie Strong. Keep Stoops. And I think he's been more involved, as I understand it. He's been more involved over there this year. So I would say to you that there may be some smoke there. I think Saban will soothe over whatever problems they're having. And I think for the player, They really, really need to kind of keep quiet about things like that, because you should know what social media and the press, they just jump all over something like that. It's an excuse to crucify someone. So they do it, and that's unfortunate.
Well, Coach, it's like we've said, too. You made it known with Tua and his comments about the Cowboys. It's one of those things that, yes, it's harmless, but it's not harmless because everything is held against you. They were going to twist your words, and Tua found that out, saying that Dallas was his favorite team. He'd love to go play behind Dak and things like that. And he came back and said, listen, I know you guys twisted my words, but this is what I meant. And you hate it, but it's the way it is now in the world. And for Terrell Lewis, I don't think he meant anything negative towards Pete Golding. I think it was just an overall thing. But whenever you say play calling, well, there's only one person that's calling that play right there. And, of course, Golding is the guy. But, well, we'll see what happens. I think my biggest thing, Coach, is if Saban didn't think he could do it, Saban's been a guy that's gotten rid of coaches before. But I also think it's a very good point what you made is he's surrounding him with the best help he can get. And that's what Saban's made, tipped his hat to.
He may like him in a number of different ways. His personality. He may have a rapport with the players that we're unaware of that you would only know if you're in the dressing room with them. And there's some other positive things about a coach that he might feel very good about if he could just shore up a few things. And I think that's what he's trying to do. He's got the mending kit out, a sewing kit, and he's mending some holes right now as he perceives them to be, and give him all the help that he can give him, and hope that he comes back, keeping in mind all along that if they absolutely had to, Saban would go full-time coaching on the field and calling the defenses, which they could do.
And one thing, too, Coach, with Alabama, for the down year they had, per se, look, Alabama's going to be just fine. If anything, I think they're going to be a lot stronger. Of course, Tua's gone. I understand that, and that's, you lose a tremendous player, but you have a lot of talent there. I think that defense is going to be really good. All those freshmen to have a full year. I mean, they had a full year under their belt due to injuries and stuff like that. It's going to pay off. Alabama is going to be just fine.
Oh, they're going to be absolutely fine. Don't worry about Alabama.
Well, yeah. Coach, when we come back, we got some more NFL news. The Tom Brady tracker, that's what I'm going to call it now.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find out where he's going. Listen, free agency's coming around the corner. Also going to talk about the new coaches in the SEC. Some familiar faces and some guys you're going to say, who? Well, when we come back, listen to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
The Mobile Boat Show opens this weekend at the Mobile Convention Center. It's the biggest show on the Gulf Coast, with the best prices of the year on hundreds of boats, accessories, tackle, and more. Whether you fish the Gulf or cruise the Bay, you'll find a boat that fits your budget. And it's fun for the whole family. This weekend only, indoors and outdoors at the Mobile Convention Center with lots of downtown parking. It's presented by Hancock Whitney Bank and worth a drive from anywhere. Don't miss it.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best 4G LTE networks, same as the big carriers, but just for a lot less. Just $45 a month. Gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G, saving you up to half the cost of the big carriers. No contract. Full court coverage, half the cost. Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
His football career started as a quarterback at Pensacola High. It culminated as the coach of the Buffalo Bills. Now, Coach K. Stevenson talks football every day at noon on Talk Football with Coach K.
Kareem Hunt got pulled over last week for speeding.
This guy's been in trouble over and over and over again. Now, if they get him out of this, he will get in trouble again.
Noon to 1, weekdays on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach K. Stevenson here on this gloomy Tuesday afternoon. Well, maybe a little gloomy outside, but we're talking some football with you here as always. Coach, I want to talk about a couple things. Of course, going back to it, our Tom Brady tracker. Well, it seems that every day it changes here. Now a report has come out. Take that for whatever you will. It's just a report. The Giants and the Colts are out of the sweepstakes for Tom Brady. Okay, well, it doesn't say where their source is. It just said this is a report. This is from Pro Football.
Well, I was unaware the Giants were there, but
that's what I said. I was like, okay, cool. Didn't know the Giants were a part of this. The Titans seem to be the best fit along with the Cowboys, although Jerry has not spoken yet. We've talked about that. The Chargers and the Raiders are willing to shell out a lot of money, but it doesn't seem that Tom Brady is too interested in it. Bruce Arians has come out and said he would love to have Brady in Tampa. Well, who wouldn't? But I agree with him. And then for some reason, Coach, the 49ers keep popping up on the radar here. Coach,
I don't buy that one. I mean, that's ridiculous. They've got to find young quarterback out there. Listen, he's the guy Belichick wanted to keep doing
yes,
and to replace Brady at some point. So that's and you just went to the Super Bowl. Why would you even bring something like that up? And just typical media baloney, just insert some radical idea like that in there and then upset a whole football team.
Well, John Lynch, Coach, has come out and said that people are criticizing him for, how could you? Your quarterback just took you to the Super Bowl and you're going to go after a guy like Tom Brady with disrespect. John Lynch came out and said, where did you hear any of this from? You didn't hear it from me. This was not me at all. No. So it's interesting. But, Coach, look, Don Yee, his agent, met with a couple of the teams at the Combine, apparently. And so things are starting to crystallize, I guess, if you want to say it that way. Coach, when we go back to this, I know we've talked about it over and over and over again. I feel like it's just weird to think the Patriots are not going to get him. But it seems almost inevitable. This is just so tough right now, Coach. It's speculation, of course, until we get that finalization. It's the same thing like until we hear from Jerry Jones, you can't count the Cowboys out as well.
Yeah, this is a big deal. It really is a big deal. We're talking about the best football player. When you want to put production, or what does the best football player in America relate to? What is that equal to? To me, it's the most production of any other player. I don't know of any player that could come close to the production of Tom Brady. Okay? Now, we're talking about that guy who almost put a team back in the Super Bowl last year with nobody playing with him.
It's very true.
And we're talking about him now maybe moving to another team and giving them an opportunity to get over the top and get to the big game, the Super Bowl. I think if you look at it right now, we've talked about a number of teams. I think at one time Colts could have been in the hunt, but I think Phillip Rivers may fill their bill, and because of his previous relationship with Frank Reich. But I'm going to tell you this: I think the leader in the clubhouse right now is Tennessee. That could happen, and I understand Brady's been texting back and forth with Vrabel. Now, how somebody knows that, I don't know, but they suppose that's the word out. And then until Jerry Jones comes out and says, don't say anything else about Brady to Dallas. We have our quarterback. He's signed. He's going to be here for 20 years, whatever. Then I'll believe it. But otherwise, I think Dallas is still in the hunt.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, as a Tennessee fan, I've said it before, I'd love to have Tom Brady. As a Tennessee fan, though, you always have skepticism. You always wonder. But, Coach, we saw him FaceTiming with Vrabel at that college basketball game. Of course, Julian Edelman saying, he's coming back. And Tom Brady seems like he was mouthing, no, he's not. It's interesting. And that's part of the parody of this all. We talk about Tom Brady and then some more Tom Brady. But, Coach, we hear people talk about this. Is this the biggest off-season news when you talk about a player? It's hard-pressed to say no. Just, of course, in my lifetime, I will say probably yes, because baseball has a stat called WAR, wins against replacement. And basically, it's an analytic where it tells you how good is that guy against another guy. How good is that guy to the replacement guy or whatever it may be. And we see guys like Mike Trout and whatever always shine. They're like, wow, that's amazing. Tom Brady, if he had a WAR stat, it would be through the roof because it's a guy that is incredible and has done nothing but win since he started. When he came in, nobody gave this guy the 6th rounder out of Michigan who looked like, just a regular old high school kid, really, in his combine picture, and people make fun of it, but it just shows you right there. Regardless, Tom Brady is fantastic, Coach, and for people that are like, well, there's more to the league than Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady has been this league. He has been the face of the league.
Yeah, he's been the face of the league. You're right.
I just think it's so important, and it's going to be so interesting to see no matter where he goes. And once again, we hold our own until we get that for sure, because all we hear is reports. But, Coach, just so you know, I know you'll be able to sleep tonight knowing that the Giants are out of the sweepstakes. I know that was on your mind.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. I'm not sure how that
they even got there.
I had not heard that until you just mentioned it.
If that's not media speculation, that's media speculation in a nutshell right there for you.
Yeah, and the other teams that have been mentioned, I just don't see him with Gruden at Las Vegas. That's going to be a circus out there. That's not Brady's MO. And then the Chargers, I really don't see him with the Chargers. I really don't. Their offensive line is not that good. I don't think he would fit very well with that system. Anyway, and in Los Angeles, in a soccer stadium, or a little soccer stadium there, when he's used to having the spotlight on the biggest stages in the country, I don't see it working.
Where they have more of the opposing fans that fill the stadium, and they play the opposing team's fight song during that.
Yeah.
We saw that with the Steelers. Hey, Coach, the other thing, too, is Tampa is interesting because it would be fun to see him with Bruce Arians and to see him have some weapons like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and guys like that. But I don't think the offensive line is rough right now. I don't think that's a situation that he would be all for as well. Although it would be fun to see him over there. I don't think that's going to be.
It's a little suspicious. And then the other thing that that you can bet he's checked on, Bruce Arians has done a good job in a couple of different places, and will continue, I think, to do a good job as long as he's healthy enough. He's had some health problems, and got out of coaching one time before, just a couple of years ago, because of his health. So there's no guarantee as to how long Bruce Arians is going to be there. Now, if you look at a big coach change type scenario, you're talking about different systems, and you're talking about a lot of upheaval that he would not want to be a part of his last 2 or 3 years in the league.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's very interesting to see, Coach. I think that once again, this seems to be a story every day, but we have a new report every day. But for you Giants fans out there, you're out of the sweepstakes, so forget about it. You got Daniel Jones. Deal with it. Moving on, Coach, I want to talk about some of the new coaches in the SEC. It's been quite a year for the SEC. We don't always see this. We've had some teams, Coach, when you talk about Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Missouri, and Arkansas. Of course, Arkansas has been just bad. There's no other way to put it. Chad Morris, of course, now the offensive coordinator over at Auburn. It's interesting. Sam Pittman comes in, Coach. This is the Georgia offensive line coach, a guy well-renowned in college football. He has built some of the biggest and baddest offensive lines, and seems like their whole line. Of course, 4 of the 5 are going to the NFL draft this year, and are all going to be drafted in the top 3 rounds. This is a guy that continues to put out talent every year. When you look at Arkansas and what they need right now, they need stability. They need someone that is a recruiter to come in there. Look, Chad Morris, I don't think he had the fire and just the personality to take over that Arkansas squad and do what he did. But nonetheless, Coach, when you look at Sam Pittman, I want to go through a couple of these guys. At Arkansas, an offensive line, big guy right there, big burly guy. Do you think he's going to help turn this program around, or is Arkansas right now kind of doomed for a while?
Well, I don't know that much about Sam Pittman to make any real definitive type statement. I will say this: just based on what I've seen, I like what I've seen so far, which doesn't mean much of anything. We'll have to see how his players perform. I do know that he'll put a lot of emphasis on those two on that defensive and offensive line. He will, I'm sure, be an old time, get after him 3 yards in a cloud of dust type coach to begin with. There's a safety blanket in that approach. But overall, I think he's probably a guy the players are going to respect quite a bit. That's a big part of it. And he will do a good job of coaching extremely well. That's what he's done. Like you mentioned, at Georgia, he coaches those kids extremely well. Obviously has a great rapport with them and demands respect. So if you've got those things going for you, chances are you're going to be a pretty good football coach. So that's the way I'd have to look at Pittman. Back to the guy that was there before. There was something missing there, and we can't say for sure what it was because we weren't there. But I don't know whether it was lack of respect on the part of the players or whether he misjudged the Southeastern Conference and what it would take to jump into it and compete. I don't know, but and there may be more than that. But there were 2 or 3 things missing in that formula there.
Yeah, it was weird. Chad Morris was supposed to be the guy to turn that program around. It didn't work. Chad Morris is a great guy. Everybody will tell you. It just didn't seem to have the fire, and things didn't work out. Listen, when your backup quarterback transfers to goes to Western Kentucky and comes in and beats you on homecoming, that's never a good sign. Coach, I want to go to the next guy here. This is former Appalachian State coach. Now, we talk about we don't know a lot about this guy. Nobody does. This was an interesting hire for Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz. Now, he's a guy that turned App State into a 12-1 year, and that's, we've seen Appalachian State be good before. For Missouri, though, I look at this, and it's like, well, Missouri's, outside a couple years, they've always been very average. I mean, I think it's hard to recruit out there in Missouri. There's not as much talent when you talk about the SEC. You're not in Mississippi. You're not in Texas. You're not in Florida. You're not in Alabama and Georgia. Just the blue bloods down here. I mean, this is unbelievable recruiting. They're kind of out there on their own. And there's not a whole lot of intrigue when you're talking about going to Missouri. The facilities are okay compared to a lot of people. But for Eli Drinkwitz, I think it's a good hire for them because you take a risk here. You weren't happy with your other coach. But, Coach, I don't see Missouri being anything other than just they're 7-5, 8-4 type years.
Well, don't let it fool you. Let me point out a couple of things. Now, they don't have the facilities, and they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to come off some money and build those facilities up out there. There's no doubt about that. But let's take a look at Missouri from another vantage point, too. once heard a very, very good football coach who was a big winner. And he was talking about the Missouri job, this is a number of years ago, being one of the better jobs. And he said, let me tell you why. Because the University of Missouri, there's no real competition in the state. It's the only big state school. Football is a big-time sport in that part of the country. On one border, you have a large city in St. Louis, and on the other border, you have a huge city in Kansas City. So you got two big cities that you can draw talent from there in surrounding areas. Then you also can, being in the if this was a school in the Southeastern Conference, I'm projecting that forward. You also being in the Southeastern Conference, you do have a chance to recruit into those SEC states because you're going to be playing against other SEC teams. These kids want to play against. They want to play against the Alabamas, the LSUs. They want to play against those people that they're going to get on television, be on television. They know if they're playing, if they can go play against Alabama and LSU and Florida and teams like that, they're going to be on TV. That's what they want now. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that is an excellent place logistically for getting some players into Missouri, okay? Now, the one big caveat I think everyone would agree on is they need to upgrade their facilities quite a bit, and that's going to take quite a commitment on their part. Are they willing to make it? But overall, I go back to, and I think there's some merit there. That's not a bad job.
Yeah, and a guy that's 36 years old, I think it's a good fit for him because you bring in a young guy, a lot of energy here. Listen, Drinkwitz is a guy that if you say you know him, you go back or whatever, he's got all this pedigree. Well, no. This is a guy that did a great job at App State. I think people respect that. Listen, we see a guy in Mike Norvell. We had him on the show last week. Mike Norvell at Florida State, what he did with Memphis, turning that program around. App State is a very similar program to like a Memphis. So for him to be able to turn that program around, and that's a team in App State that none of these Power 5 schools want to play. That says a lot. When you look at that, you schedule some of these lower quality teams. If you see App State on your schedule, we saw them years ago beat Michigan in the Big House.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows you what can happen. But for Eli Drinkwitz, I think it's a good move, and I think for Missouri, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do because there hasn't been a whole lot of buzz. I think it's better, of course, when all the teams in the SEC are good. That's why I hope for things to turn around in Arkansas as well. Coach, I want to go to Mike Leach real quick. Mike Leach in Mississippi State. Boy, this is something we didn't see coming at all.
Great story. It really is. Mike Leach is a character now. I'll tell you what. You're talking about that that crew that came up together. The guys at Dallas now, the offensive coordinator. Dallas, the wild man.
Hal Mumme.
Hal Mumme. Okay, Hal Mumme put together a staff, started at Valdosta State, and here this is part of it. He's part of it. And then he went to Kentucky, and he brought Guy Morris on. Guy's was a great pro player. In fact, Guy was on my staff at San Antonio, so I know what kind of coach he was. But he put together a good coaching staff. I had two of my coaches from San Antonio on his staff in Kentucky. And anyway, they just they threw the ball, didn't punt on fourth down. They were crazy, but they did some things that were pretty amazing. And this is what Leach is made of. Exactly the same type guy. As I said yesterday, I know now why he only has a small play sheet in his hands because that's what Mumme does.
Coach, when you see that though, we saw with Hal Mumme, of course, in the game against the Roughnecks, things kind of changed for him. It didn't like they didn't change a whole lot. Of course, when you have a small playbook like that, you can't change too much. Do you see Leach having a problem in the SEC when people kind of figure that whole system, that air raid system out, or is he going to have some success and, of course, being able to change on the fly here?
Well, I think we got to give him credit for what he's done. Look at what he's done everywhere he's been. Whatever quarterback is up next, some of them haven't played since they were in high school, and they're fifth-year guys, and they throw for 5,000 yards.
Well, he also got the Stanford quarterback to transfer in, the KJ Costello.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean, he is absolutely amazing. I think he makes more, probably has taken it to another level in the way of making adjustments during the ball game, on the spot, not having to wait too long before making those adjustments. That's what I gather right now from his offense, which may be a little different than Mummy. Mummy the other day, some of that might have been dictated by the fact that the quarterback had not had enough work, did not know the system quite well. So I think with Leach you're going to see more versatility and more adjustments. But yeah, it's going to be he's going to find it difficult, but I think he'll do a good job.
Well, Coach, we've seen him do that at, of course, Texas Tech and Washington State, and that's two schools that, let's be honest, you're not the top dog. Now, Mississippi State, you're not the top dog either, but you're in the SEC. You can get more talent. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt because, for one, I think it's going to be fun to see what he does. I want to see how that defense is going to work because he's never really been a defensive guy. But now, not only that, he has the ability to recruit. We know that. He gets these guys out of nowhere. And if you're an offensive player, if you're a wide receiver, maybe not a running back, but if you're a wide receiver or a quarterback, why would you not want to play in this system? This is just showcase everything you could ever want to do.
He'll get some skilled players. There's no doubt about it. You know, it almost reminds me of Don Coryell. I remember him, the coach of the San Diego Chargers, the high-flying Chargers, and before that the Cardinals. Don Coryell told his, and I know this for a fact because I knew two of his defensive coordinators. Told his defensive coordinators, if you can't stop them, get out of the way and let them score so we can get the ball back. He just felt that if he had the ball, he was going to score. Their offense was going to score. So he just wanted, if you'll just get a stop, we'll go ahead. If not, let them score, and we'll match their score. A crazy way of playing football, and not many have ever done it before, presently or in the future. But
fair enough.
Anyway, it's interesting story.
Hey, Coach, the last coach we talk about before we go to break here, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin doesn't have the style offense that Mike Leach or any of those guys have, but Lane Kiffin has personality, sometimes way too much so. It's the guy that can recruit, probably the best recruiter out of all of them, but I think it's more because he looks at himself and he tries to put himself as one of the guys out there. And this is a guy that has a lot of football knowledge, hasn't put everything together, has had a lot of bumps in the road, should we say. Did a good job at Florida Atlantic. Has gotten some of the players at Florida Atlantic to join him at Ole Miss, but an Ole Miss program that, like Mississippi State, you can get some talent. You're in the SEC. Lane Kiffin knows about the SEC a little bit, for good reasons and bad. But at Ole Miss here, of course, this is a team that's not bad. He's got some talent, Coach, especially the quarterback position. John Rice Plumlee and Matt Corral, two guys that can sling the football, a little dual threat guy as well. He's got Jerrion Early, another good running back for him. He got a bright future at Ole Miss, but I want to see if he can put it all together. He has some of the pieces there to be very competitive, but, Coach, I wonder, can he be elite?
Well, now here's the deal. Excuse me. Can he put it together? Possibly. But when he puts it together, how's he going to do playing Alabama and LSU and the people he's got to play in the SEC? Yeah, you know, there's a difference. There's only a certain level, I think, that right now that Ole Miss can get to in the way of overall talent and depth. And is that going to be enough with the game planning and the coaching, which you have to get over the hump and be able to not only play well against them, but for sure, you know, be in competition with them for the whole ball game. And that's going to be very, very difficult to do. Will Lane do it? where everybody's going to give him a chance, and he's going to be interesting too. There's some between he and Leach. Now there are going to be some interesting things happening over in Mississippi.
Going to be a very interesting year in the SEC, to say the least. Well, Coach, listen, we're at a break right now. When we come back, we still have a lot of news for you in such a little bit of time. We'll talk about some winners at the Combine. We mentioned some yesterday. We got some more for you as well. And the Cowboys plan to franchise Dak Prescott. Well, we'll see what he thinks about that. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Our new PXG Gen 3 irons are the best golf irons we've ever made by a long shot. Gen 3 irons deliver game-changing distance, outstanding accuracy, with a feel so soft it's like spreading warm butter on a hot biscuit. Oh my! Sold only at PXG stores, fitting studios, and PXG.com. To find out more, visit PXG.com or call 844-PLAY-PXG today. PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
America is a great big country.
Filled with all kinds of different people.
Young.
Old.
City people.
Country folk.
And everything in between.
And every one of us matters.
So we all should count, right?
That's why the 2020 census
wants to make sure we're all counted.
Why is it so important?
Because the census helps inform how hundreds of billions of dollars will be spent each year for things like
new roads, health clinics,
even more school programs.
It also decides your state's congressional representation.
It's just too important to miss.
So be counted and make sure.
Your neighborhood counts.
your family counts.
Take the 2020 census.
Take the 2020 census.
Come on, take the 2020 census.
And make sure you count.
Shape your future. Start here. Learn more at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
This is Davis Allen from Sports Call with Davis and Justin, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach K. Stevenson here on this Tuesday afternoon. Well, Coach, I'll get to a couple things here. The Cowboys are prepared to use the exclusive franchise tag on Prescott worth $33 million if unable to come to a deal by March 12th. Well, March 12th right around the corner as it's today is March 3rd. Coach, a couple things on this. It's no guarantee that Dak Prescott, it just seems like that he would sign the franchise tag. This is my personal opinion on this. If I'm Dak right now, I understand the money. If you can get your money, that's fine. But if Dallas is not willing to work and give you the $40 million you're asking for, listen, the franchise tag is worth $33. And I understand you want a long-term deal. I get that. I think personally Dak Prescott would sign a franchise tag for 1 year with him. We saw guys like Kirk Cousins who it worked out for him. I mean, he did it for a few years. And listen, you're making $33 million. This is no slouch money at all. And I understand going against what other quarterbacks are getting paid, this is still the upper echelon. But I think Prescott would sign a franchise tag, Coach, but I just wonder if the media pushing him, saying, no, he doesn't need to do that, he needs a long-term deal, he deserves this, he deserves that, almost sways this in another way. I know that this is a grown man that makes his decisions, but it just almost seems that way, and almost like if Dak was to sign that he's a weaker person because of it.
No, I think, what they've offered him, as I understand it now, is the equivalent of that franchise tag, 33.
Correct.
But overall guaranteed, like $100 million over the life of the contract. And some people are saying, well, he's probably at least $10 million short on the life of the contract. Now, they also most agree, that he is being compensated fairly according to what the market should bear based on his performance. I would agree with that. But keep in mind, everybody should keep this in mind. Jerry Jones is not interested in repeating the same performance level. He's interested in one thing, going to the Super Bowl and winning it. I still think, and I'm not sure that it could happen, I'm not a capologist and I don't have privy to their books, but as we were just talking about, if there was some way he could franchise tag Dak and still make the other things happen, he's got to sign the receiver, he's got to sign the tackle, and but then there's some people that he could lower some of the cap with, but it looks like with the new cap they're going to have enough money maybe to do Brady in addition to Dak Prescott. So that's always a possibility. Just never know. I'm not sure how they're wound up or bound to other incentives on contracts and so on that we're not sure of.
Right.
But anyway, it's something to bruise about, think about.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's for the Cowboys, of course, Cowboy fans out there, and Jonah always gives us a call as well. But these guys, they're as good of fans as you can get. They want to see a championship more than anybody. And listen, Dak Prescott is a guy that has done well. He's done well for them. This is not a guy that's a bum or anything. Not what we're saying. But you need right now, Jerry Jones wants to win a championship. And I like Dak. I love Dak a lot. I wish him the best. But if you can get a Tom Brady, Coach, we've talked about it. But I also agree with what you're saying. Listen, it seems like they have about $90 million of cap space. I know they got a couple people to re-sign. But if you could find a way to get both those guys, you could turn this market upside down. You could turn NFL upside down right now.
You bet. It would be it would be news worthy of whatever value you want to put on it. It would be big time. No doubt about it.
Coach, I want to jump to the Combine before we go to a break here. Listen, some winners. We talked about a bunch of guys. Of course, if you watch the Combine, which it was in the evening now, a little bit different. Not sure how much I like that, but nonetheless, of course, we said Justin Herbert yesterday ran a 4.69, real good for a guy. He's just a 6'6", about 235-pound quarterback. Made all the throws there, just a fantastic job. Another guy, Coach, a couple guys off the radar. Now, Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor, this guy should not be off the radar. This guy had over 6,000 yards in his college career. Oh, and his college career was 3 years. Let's just say that. That's incredible for a guy like that. 230 pounds, ran a 4.39. This is a guy, of course, we know Wisconsin has put in some really good running backs in the NFL, but to run a 4.39 at 230 pounds and have the proof is in the pudding here. When I say Wisconsin, you talk about rushing, everybody knows they're going to run the football. And they load the boxes up, and this young man still gets 6,000 yards. That's incredible. Notre Dame, this is a guy, look, we don't hear a whole lot about Notre Dame. Chase Claypool was a guy, 6'4", 240, that was looked upon as a tight end. Well, he was going to be a tight end when he comes in here. Well, he put a little bit of that to bed and made himself more of a utility guy, running a 4.42. They said his hands are incredible. This is a guy that we thought maybe a third or fourth round pick with his combine, Coach. may have bumped himself into the first round, depending on the way a team looks at him. Coach, when you look at a guy like that and you talk about the combine and the importance of the combine, that's why they do this. That's the reason we have the combine, just to show guys like that and to show teams some of these under-the-radar guys that you have no idea until you look out there and you see the intangibles they have. I mean, 6'4", 240 running a 4.42.
Yeah, that's amazing. We got we're going to have some feedback on the whole all of the combine results and what happened out there from Bill Polian and from Jim Haslett here in the next couple of days. So that'll be interesting, and they've got their own likes and dislikes, and so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, going to be really interesting, Coach. And to stick with that, when we come back, we're going to talk about the new mock draft that come out, and there's some people that have moved up that maybe you'll scratch your head a little bit. And is Tua really going to go to the Redskins? Well, you'll come back to find out more. You listen to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
The latest sports news is at ESPNpensacola.com and on Facebook at ESPN Pensacola. Plus, watch Chad Brillante, Coach K, and Sports Call live on our exclusive YouTube channel, ESPN Pensacola 1330. The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson here on this Tuesday afternoon. Got a few minutes left. Coach, I want to talk about the mock draft a little bit. Now, a lot of interesting things going on here. Now, this is post-combine. Now, this is Pro Football Focus. This is one, of course, Todd McShay and Mel Kiper have theirs as well. I think it's unanimous. I want to go through a few of these. Joe Burrow, number one. Any argument there?
No, I don't think there's anyone could have any argument there.
Moving on to the Redskins, Coach, this is where we start to already get into some controversy. It's something, a point you've made. Listen, they drafted Dwayne Haskins last year. It seems like, that hasn't worked out, but at the same time, you haven't given him time. He didn't have that good of a team. Tua is rumored. Now, on the mock draft, it has the Redskins taking Tua Tagovailoa at number 2.
I don't buy that one. It's just too hard for me to think that Snyder wouldn't go through the roof. We're talking about little Napoleon there, and I don't. For some reason, I can't see that one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's tough. I understand that Dwayne Haskins may not be the guy. I don't think that it's going to happen solely because I don't think that Mr. Snyder is going to be able to swallow his pride enough to make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens, but. Number 3, Detroit Lions, Chase Young. Well, I think, look, Jeff Okudah was the Lions guy, but if you can get Chase Young, that would be tremendous for the Lions. Why would you not take that guy?
Well, here's what I think there, and I know this is really getting into a lot of speculation, but I see them trading there and picking up quite a bit in the way of a trade. I don't think Chase Young is going to be available there. I think he'll go to Washington with the second pick. And then I think you'll look at them trading down and still picking up. They'll pick up an extra player is what they'll do.
Yeah, I agree there. I don't think Chase Young is going to leave past number 2 with the Redskins there, but we'll see. Coach, the New York Giants drafting Mekhi Becton, the offensive lineman out of Louisville, 6'7", 364 pounds. This guy's a raw prospect. I mean, he is phenomenal. Not to mention he ran a 5'1", which you're thinking 5'1". Well, remember, this kid is 6'7", 364 pounds. Running a 5'1" is impressive. I mean, that's a guy, when you look at the Giants, coach, trying to protect Daniel Jones as well, I think it's a good move for them.
Yeah, I think so. They've got to rebuild that offensive line. They've got to at least add significant value to their offensive line. Yeah.
And the last one there, now you said that Todd McShay had bumped Love over Herbert. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's it's interesting. Look, a lot of love for Jordan Love after the combine. I can't see that happening. But
I'm not. I don't see it. I don't know. But I'm just telling you what McShay has.
We'll have to get Mel Kiper and ask him. They seem to be quarreling right now.
Kiper doesn't go for it.
No. Well, Coach, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
You bet. Look forward to tomorrow.
Well, absolutely. Same time tomorrow at 12 here on Talk Football with Coach K. It's JP.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football